Hello and welcome to another episode of Pep Bear's Anime Club. Every other Monday I put up a new episode where I take a look at something from the world of anime that interests me. It could be a deep dive on a subgenre, or it could be a look at the previous season of anime, or the current or future season of anime, or in this case of this video, just looking at a topic that kind of is a primer, just like an introduction to the topic, because you should not assume that everyone knows everything that you know. So let me set the stage here as why I want to talk about anime music videos, why this is a primer on AMVs and their history and what that means, because it came up in my life that someone didn't know what I was talking about. And I was like, I bet there are other people that could enjoy, or other folks that might just want to I don't know a little history of it, know a little bit, a little bit of an introduction. So I wouldn't call this a deep dive, more as an introduction. So, not too long ago, I posted a tweet that was basically just like, hey, got a new TV. First thing I did was use the Chromecast to watch anime music videos because I will never not be me. And then I have this photo, as you can see there, a photo here of my television there. And be watching a Vegeta AMV that was made in the year 2020 because it's from Dragon Ball Super, which rules. To which someone said, I'm now doing a deep dive because I didn't know what AMVs were. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, they're a medium that is celebrating, arguably, depending on who you talk to, celebrating its 40th anniversary as a thing that exists, so maybe you wouldn't know about them, and that's okay. I'll do the work to tell you about AMVs, anime music videos. What are they? They are fan-created works because we want to separate them from songs that were written and then produced by a studio, along with footage that might be more like a music video, like even like something like Daft Punk. That's original animation created for that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that get. It could be they get like the trailer for a series and they're re-editing it with a different song, or they're taking footage because they've got the VHS tapes or the DVDs, or they're downloading MP4s or MKVs of it, or AVIs of it, and they're editing those videos together, and then they're going to put it together with music that maybe is from the show. Maybe they're doing like their own cut of the opening, or they're going to take just a pop song they like, something out there from the popular culture, I should say, not just a pop song, popular culture song, and put that together with it. Sometimes they're doing it to be like, hey, here's all the action scenes from this thing that I think is great, or here's a character study, like the Vegeta song there. Be like, oh yeah, when I think of this song, I think about Vegeta, or whatever. Or it could be a juxtaposition of like, hey, we're going to take this slapstick series and only show like the drama moments, the couple drama moments with like a dramatic song, and recontextualize it together. Something like that. So that's what AMVs are. They are certainly were popular here in the western parts of the world where I am. Japan, not as much. But also, I think a big reason why they were popular here is because, especially in the 80s and 90s, there just wasn't a lot of anime. So you just didn't have a lot of material, so you were taking what you had and building it. There's also a sense that if you want to make fan comics, you want to make doujinshi. That's certainly accepted in Japan, and while I do certainly believe that fan fiction has become more and more accepted and more popular here in the United States and in the western part of the world, it certainly wasn't always that way. But if you had the technical know-how, you could make something of a show you really liked. You could take part in your fandom. And that's where the fandom element is where a lot of AMVs shined. They're still doing anime music video competitions at conventions. Conventions were where you would see it, like before the days of YouTube, before the days of everyone having an internet connection, or most people, I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people having internet connection. you saw AMVs at conventions because they had rooms, and maybe they had some panels, but a lot of cons didn't have panels back in the day. But what they did have was space, and they had the space and the projectors, and they had some fan subs, and you would have things where it'd be like, oh, we're gonna do like our version of the Mystery Science Theater about this old anime, and we're gonna overdub it, or we've recorded ourselves, we recorded some of the early joke, stuff that people have done about anime, and we recorded our own dub lines for this thing, and we're going to perform it. Or we got a band. You can see that in one of the photos there. There's like musical instruments in front of this AMV that's running, and the AMV is most likely just running in between big things like a costume contest or whatever. But that's where a lot of people saw AMVs and found out on them, were at your local cons. I mean, I had friends that would bring VHS tapes. They would have their 2 VCRs, and they would get a bunch of AMVs and make VHS tapes for our local conventions, and bring them in and be like, hey, this is a block, this is 2 hours of anime music videos that I've collected from this. And then there'd be somebody who'd be like, can we make a copy of this? Because we're going to a con in DC, and we want to be like, oh, okay, well, what do you... So like tape trading of anime music videos. Tape trading wasn't just about fan subs; it was also about this. And speaking of fan sub, you want to talk about the legality of AMVs, and certainly, this is not footage the person owns. This is not music the person owns. Is it transformative? You could argue it is. But a lot of people saw it as promotional. There was a Funimation executive that was quoted that was saying, like, the general consensus of AMVs is like, well, it gets the footage of the thing out there. It's not a fan sub, so it's not directly competing with an eventual release, but it may lay the groundwork for excitement about said release if you're watching AMVs about a show and then you want to find out more about that particular anime. Music licensors, of course, do not like it, do not enjoy it. They never have, they never will, because you are using their music in a different way than they intended. But the actual animation studios were apparently a little less worried about that. And also, Japan, there's a little bit more of a fan, a respect for the fandom community, the people that love the shit and make the shit. There's a little bit more respect for that than you have here. But, I'm generalizing. Anyway, AMVs are still here today. Now, let's talk about it. I said at the beginning of this video, early in this video, that we are in the 40th anniversary of the AMV. And that is certainly debated among some purists, and some people have their thoughts. But the general consensus is that in 1982, this man... I'm looking his name up again. Jim Kabastas. Jim Kabastas created the first AMV. He took 2 VCRs and he spliced footage together of violent scenes in Star Blazers, and he set it to the Beatles' "All You Need Is Love" for comedic effect. And that is widely considered that Jim, at the age of 21, in 1982, so 40 years, created the first AMV. Now, are there other people that have said that? Sure, there are people like, I've definitely seen that, and they might point to music videos produced, like there's like a song to videos that like Ghibli produced, but like, no, well, that's a production company. This was just a guy. And he also does, as you may be able to see there, does do conventions still in the scene out there. Thanks, Jim. I know nothing else about you except you made this, and I hope you are cool. But yeah, so that's a little bit of the first one. Certainly people are like, hey, look, it's remix stuff. This is going to be cool. Still exists today. Are there new AMVs? Certainly there are. What is a well-known example of a modern anime music video that also you could decide, possibly, if you wanted to, is just a music video Well, that would be a friend of the. I don't know. Mike and I have met a couple times, and we follow each other on Twitter. So I don't know if we're friends or friendly, but whatever. I know Open Mike Eagle, and Open Mike Eagle produced a song for Anime Trauma Divorce, his album called "I'm a Joestar," and the music video was produced by Adult Swim, aired on Adult Swim, is on Adult Swim's YouTube channel as well. And with footage from Golden Wind, the dub footage from Golden Wind, which they were airing. Now, if this had been a true fan project, a true anime music video, perhaps Mike or someone working for Mike would have used older footage from other JoJo series and not just this one JoJo series, especially because there are direct references to different JoJos and different series and not so much Golden Wind. But it is what it is. This is a modern example of a anime music video. It is lyrics that are about this thing, but also about the man Mike Eagle and his own feelings on things, spliced in with somewhat related but also not related anime footage. Even though it's licensed, to me, it's still an AMV. And if you're wondering, are there still anime music videos being made today? Was that a fluke, Pat, that you found one on YouTube? The answer is, yeah, they're still out there. AnimeMusicVideos.org still is a big community about like how to get into making them, how to find a bunch of them and their archives. They're still, as you can see probably here in this photo, there is still a editing competition happening, sponsored by MomoCon, so it's still connected with the conventions. They have had cease and desist from record labels. I'm sure YouTube stuff gets taken down all the time. So they still exist. They're still out there. If you want to learn more about it, I would say animemusicvideos.org is a great resource for learning more about AMVs. And that's my primer on AMVs. If this video is your introduction to it, get excited about it. If you want to see some videos of like, hey, guess what? I don't know this to be true, but I know that if you go to YouTube and search Vegeta bad guy, you're going to find a anime music video of footage of Vegeta set to Billie Eilish's bad guy. Like, do I know that that exists? No. Am I sure that it exists? Yes. Am I going to check as soon as I'm done filming this video? 100% I'm going to check that out. And that's going to do it for this Pat Baer's Anime Club. My next Pat Baer's Anime Club will be recorded live on twitch.tv/PatBaer, where I will be taking a look at the summer 2022 anime season that's just finishing up, and a look ahead at the fall season. Because, spoiler alert, I'm excited about the fall, and I didn't love the summer season. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you'll check out that video. I hope you'll check out one of the other videos here on youtube.com/PatBaer. Leave a comment. Do you remember someone showing you a grainy AMV, or that they found on a QuickTime video, or did you go to conventions and watch AMVs? Have you ever made one? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have any ideas for future videos you'd like to see me do, I'm always willing to take suggestions. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.